Okay, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to put ourselves directly into the shoes of someone chasing what looks like the absolute ultimate dream. We're going to trace the exact lifespan, level by level, of a day trader. But here's the catch. We aren't just looking at the bank account balances. We're focusing entirely on the hidden personal costs of this journey, the real price of success. So what is the true price of total financial freedom? It's a haunting thought, right? Because we all see the sports cars, the luxury watches, the supposed easy life plastered all over social media. But over the next few minutes, we're going to track the invisible, personal toll of chasing this exact dream. We'll go step by step, from a naive 19-year-old kid all the way to a revered Wall Street legend at age 62. And the price, as you'll see, is incredibly high.
Let's start with Phase 1, the hook and the hustle, covering ages 19 to 25. Picture this scene in your mind. You're 19. You're living in a cramped dorm room that smells strongly of instant noodles. It's 2 a.m. Your roommate is dead asleep, but you're wide awake. You're glued to a video online of some guy who just made $1,000 in a single afternoon. He's smiling, sitting in a flashy sports car, and man, you want that life more than you have ever wanted anything.
So you actually take the leap. Your hands are literally shaking as you pull exactly $400 from the checking account your grandmother set up for you. You buy your very first stock. By lunch, you're up $11 and you feel like an absolute genius. But then, by dinner, you're down $6 and you feel like a total fool. You sell at a loss just because you can't stomach that sinking feeling in your chest. And right there, you learn lesson number 1. The market absolutely does not care about your feelings.
But you keep pushing, right? You skip your classes, you watch the opening bell every morning, and eventually, you actually manage to turn $600 into $800. You think, okay, I've got this figured out. But then comes the reality check. You go all in on a stock that everyone online swears is going to the moon. Instead, it completely crashes. In just 2 agonizing hours, you watch that $800 vaporize down to a mere $90. You just stare at the screen. You don't even eat dinner that night. You honestly just want to quit.
Well, if you're going to survive this, you have to completely transform. You physically write these exact rules on a sticky note and tape it right to the bottom of your monitor. Stop trying to get rich, follow strict 1% risk rules. Treat it like a boring job. And let me tell you, it is not easy. You fail these prop firm challenges where you trade simulated money to prove your skills. Not once, but twice. Mainly because you let your anger take over. But finally, on the 3rd try, something clicks. You master your emotions, you pass the test, and you finally get funded with $100,000 of real capital.
All right, moving into Phase 2, the professional void. You're now between the ages of 25 and 32. That frantic, wild energy of the beginner is completely gone. You're 25 now, a disciplined, full-time professional. Your bedroom is your office, and extreme discipline is the entire game. 2 years pass quietly. You survive. In fact, you thrive. You're now managing $500,000 in trading capital across multiple funded accounts. You've really learned how to spread your risk. Personal life starts happening too. You meet a wonderful woman named Sarah, and you marry her in a small spring wedding. And for the very first time, your skeptical dad, the guy who once called what you do gambling right to your face, looks at your nice apartment, looks at your car, shakes your hand at the reception, and finally tells you he is proud of you. But here is the massive disconnect between the dream and the reality. The internet promised sports cars, lavish vacations, and total freedom. But the reality? It's an incredibly isolating existence. You're spending 10 hours a day glued to a single chair. Your eyes are constantly burning from staring at 3 monitors. You literally eat your lunch standing up just so you don't miss a market move. And while you technically have the freedom to take any Tuesday off, you never do. Because every single day you don't trade is a day you don't earn. Eventually, this intense, solitary focus catches the eye of a real proprietary trading firm in Chicago. You pack up, you move with Sarah, and you walk onto this loud, electric trading floor, and you are instantly humbled by the veterans around you. At one point, a senior trader next to you named Vince watches you make a really stupid mistake. But he doesn't yell, he just calmly tells you to size down your trades until you stop being an idiot. From Vince, you learn a crucial truth. Calm is a skill, not a personality trait. You can train it. So you train it. You find your edge, and soon enough, you catch an earnings move that makes the firm 40 grand in just 20 minutes. But life keeps moving forward, which brings us to Phase 3, the institutional machine, ages 32 to 48. You're 32 now, and you are one of the most profitable traders on the entire desk. But then, one evening, Sarah tells you she's pregnant. You just stare at the test on the counter, and for the very first time in your life, all those massive numbers blinking on your glowing screens, they suddenly start to feel incredibly small. By the time you've spent 15 years in the trenches, you want something to call your own. So you leave the firm and launch a small hedge fund with your actual name on the door, raising $12 million. But the game fundamentally changes here. The crushing pressure shifts completely. You are no longer managing your own personal risk. You are managing other people's life savings. You quickly realize that running a fund is mostly just about managing your wealthy investors' constant, unyielding fear.
And this is where the personal price of all this success becomes truly devastating. You are making more money than you ever could have imagined back in that noodle-scented dorm room. You buy a beautiful house in the suburbs, but you are working constantly. Your son learns to walk in a living room paid for by your screens, but you miss his first steps. Why? Because you simply could not tear yourself away from the market close. Sarah films it on her phone. You end up watching the video alone in your office after the closing bell rings, and you just cry.
It's the ultimate paradox. While your personal life is under immense strain, your professional life just explodes. A brutal 30% market crash absolutely wipes out other funds, but you survive because you protected your capital, that same lesson you learned in your early days. Suddenly investors flock to you. Your fund triples in size in a single year to $500 million. Think about that. You are now a market-moving force. You buy in such massive quantities that the price rises simply because you are buying. You literally have to break up your orders in secret just to hide your intentions from the rest of Wall Street.
Yet look at the reality behind that $500 million. You sit at the top of a financial institution. You're 48 years old, your hair is going gray, your back constantly aches from decades slumped in a chair, your doctor is actively warning you about your dangerously rising blood pressure, you have to take medication just to fall asleep at night, and your son, he's 16 now. He calls his mother from college, but he barely speaks to you. You spent his entire childhood staring at blinking screens, and you have absolutely no idea how to get those years back.
Which brings us to the final chapter. Phase 4, the final ledger. Age 62 and beyond. The years have just slipped by, and you have officially reached the absolute summit of Wall Street. You're 62. You're a revered legend. Young traders actually study your old trades the exact same way you used to study charts at 2 a.m. You now run a $2 billion machine. The scale is so unbelievably massive that the money has completely stopped feeling real. You don't even think in dollars anymore, you just think in abstract basis points. To put it in perspective, you can lose $90 million in a single morning on a bad position, and you'll barely even flinch in the board meeting. The fight is just gone. The machine largely runs without you, leaving you with literally everything money can buy, but an absolute emptiness where the thrill used to live.
When you really lay out this timeline, it's just devastating. Age 19, that $400 dorm room gamble. Age 32, missing your kid's first steps. Age 48, dealing with a silent son. Age 62, a $2 billion fund. And just utter emptiness. 4 entire decades flew by while you were sitting in a chair. You traded genuine human connection, school soccer games, and ordinary family dinners for basis points, market exposure, and a beautiful corner office view that you never even bothered to look at.
You made absolute fortunes. You moved markets that literally moved the whole world. But you missed the school games. You missed the ordinary, boring Tuesdays. And now, the tragic realization finally hits you: no amount of capital buys a single Tuesday back. Not one. That is the ultimate trade nobody warns you about at the starting line. And as you sit there wondering what it all really added up to, somewhere out there right now, the cycle is restarting. A 19-year-old kid is sitting in a dorm room, it's 2 a.m., he's watching a video of a man making $1,000, he's depositing $400 into a brokerage account, and his hands are shaking. He genuinely thinks this is going to finally make him rich and free. But does he know the cost? Does he realize that the ultimate trade might just be his entire life for the glow of a screen? It's a question we all need to ask ourselves before making that first deposit. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. I hope it gave you something really deep to reflect on.